Yo, what is up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our week 3 battle of the IBL D-League. We're going up against Mid, our good friend from many leagues. We always end up in leagues together. I battled him fairly recently actually. In the PMC, we faced off week 1 with week 3 here in the IBL D-League. And man, he has got such a terrifying team. It's a very good team he's drafted in the IBL D-League. One of my favourite drafts actually in the league. But yeah, we're currently unbeaten against him. We're looking to keep that 4-0 record, make it a 5-0. But this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be really big uphill battle because his team is just so good. As you can see, there's not a lot on my team that really deals with Darmanitan all that well. But we have got a few things that can kind of sort of check it on our team, but before we get into any of that, we'll go through the team that Mid has. He has got the Garchomp, Alolan Ninetales, Scizor, Necrozma, Mega Blastoise, Darmanitan, Umbreon, Ditto, Chestnut, Zapdos, and Miltank. So yeah, really scary team. So many things on his team that could be an issue. I didn't expect him to bring Ditto just because there's a few mons on my team that don't really care too much about it if they go up against themselves. And Hawlucha, he doesn't trace the Unburden, so he's actually slower than my Hawlucha if he is to try and mimic that. So I didn't expect a Ditto. Scizor was a bit of a problem for a few of my mons, but at the same time I had like a Victini, I had Mega Aggron, I have potential Silverly to try and check it, and then a lot of things that outspeed and can OHKO it. So I wasn't too sure if Scizor would come out, didn't think it would. Umbreon and Chestnut, again, I didn't really see these two coming, but I wouldn't be surprised they did. Miltank seemed like a better cleric, certainly a better all-round check against my team than Umbreon did. But as you can see, he did actually bring the Umbreon, so certainly we were under-prepped for that. Although we have a Hawlucha and a Bulu. Yeah, the team that I'm bringing was a little bit interesting this week. We've got fairly standard Piloswine with Icicle Crash, Earthquake, Toxic, and Protect. Fun fact, that is the same set that he brought against me in the PMC. So yeah, we're bringing the same set back against him. Next up, well, that's physically defensive. Next up, we got Silverly Electric. So I was really struggling for a Mega Blastoise switch in and a Zapdos switch in on the special side. There's a couple of things that maybe could have taken a hit from Zapdos, but could take a hit from Mega Blastoise, like Piloswine. And yeah, vice versa. I think there was something on my team that could quite easily take on Blastoise, but just got destroyed by the. Oh, sorry, that was. I guess Togekiss doesn't easily take on Mega Blastoise, but if he doesn't run Ice Beam, then it can. Yeah, but that just loses straight up to Zapdos, so it was a struggle to get a good kind of check to it. Silverly Electric with quite a bit of special defense seemed like my best option. Next up, we have got a Life Orb Hydreigon, Timid with max special attack, just enough speed to outspeed something on his team. I don't entirely remember, because it was a couple of, well, it was about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago actually that we actually did this battle, so I'm a bit late on recording. But yeah, this set has enough bulk that it can potentially tank an Outrage from a Garchomp. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's potential it could, with 174 in HP. Next up we've got our Mega Aggron, and Mega Aggron is here hopefully to set up rocks, but also to be kind of a bait if he is in with Darmanitan. And I know that he's not going to be able to kill me. Well, actually, I know from full, like, if he's Jolly Choice Band, I think that doesn't kill me. If he's Adamant Banded, I think it does. But only if it's Adamant Banded. And I've got other things that can beat Adamant Banded. So, yeah. If he brings in his Darmanitan and goes for Flare Blitz on it, I can go ahead and click Metal Burst and just get rid of that problem, because it is a problem. I've also got Heavy Slam, Ice Punch, and Stealth Rocks. Next up we got the Tapu Bulu. It is Choice Scarf, Wood Hammer, Horn Leech, Stone Edge, and Focus Punch. This is something of a win con for me this week. I expected him to bring the Miltank just because Sap Sipper is the only way it can really be checked. But I did have the Focus Punch, so I could hit it really hard on a switch. I think if it was not physically defensive for whatever reason, then it would get, like, it would take like 90% to get OHKO'd after rocks. But yeah, Focus Punch was kind of like my best way to hit that. It also hit the Umbreon. Maybe running Superpower in hindsight would have been better. I think actually when I genned it, I did change it to Superpower. So yeah, I think Focus Punch might have been an old set. And lastly, we've got a very strange Hawlucha set. I'm running Expert Belt with Limber this week. Flying Press, Stone Edge, U-Turn, and Toxic. So on his team, I think he had Necrozma. Did I say Necrozma on his team? I don't know. But he had Necrozma and he had Mega Blastoise, both of which are very good switch-ins to Hawlucha. So is Zapdos, all three of which will be really nice to Toxic. As long as it doesn't bring a Cleric on his team, then it's going to have like a great time just Toxicking everything and then U-turning out because it's quicker than all of them. Stone Edge is there to hit the Zapdos. Flying Press hits the Umbreon, the Miltank, and the Chestnut. I went with Flying Press over High Jump Kick this week just because I felt like I needed that flying stab on there as well, just because Chestnut would be able to come in and wall it otherwise. So yeah, first time using Flying Press ever, I think. So it should be interesting, and yeah, that's the team. So game plan is to chip everything down, get him to a low enough amount of damage, and kill off a potential Scissor that might come along, and kill off a potential Scarf Darmanitan, because they're the two things that stop Tapu Bulu from just sweeping. So I need to chip things down. A Zapdos needs to be chipped down. The Alola Ninetales, I think, needs to take like one lot of rocks, and it's then in Woodhammer range, as long as the Veil isn't up. Then Garchomp needs to take a fairly hefty amount of damage. I think something like 60. It needs to be about 60% to be KO'd if it's not bulky. If it is bulky, I think it needs to be like under half for me to be able to kill with Woodhammer. But I do have ways of dealing with that. Like if I can get a Toxic off on it, that'd be great. If I can keep making it switch into rocks, then that would be great. Mega Blastoise just dies to it, and Umbreon, if it's physically defensive, it needs to be around half to be killed by it. So definitely got a wink on in my Tapu Bulu, and the game plan really is just to chip away at things, get him in range, and then just sweep late game with Bulu. So we're going to get into this. I was not sure what he was leading with. I thought maybe he would lead with potential Scarf Darmanitan because... oh yeah, I should probably have prefaced this video by saying I forgot entirely that I didn't send Mid, or Mid had lost my battle code. So he just sent me his side of it. So we're actually on Mid side. I will explain what happens on the other side if I can remember. But yeah, we're actually on the other side. So everything that's on the opponent's side of the screen is us. Just so you don't get confused. And he is indeed going to lead with the Darmanitan, and I couldn't for the life of me remember the Mega rules for IBL. So I spent a little bit of time just looking to make sure I had to Mega Evolve first turn, and I couldn't find anything to say that I did, but I just didn't want to risk it, and I thought, okay, unless it's Adamant Banded, I don't die to a Flare Blitz anyway. So I'm just going to risk it. I'm going to go for the Metal Burst. If he goes for U-turn, he goes for U-turn. But then Mega Dragon will get his rocks up on pretty much anything on his team. So yeah, he goes for the Flare Blitz. He just goes straight for the kill. No predictions, anything like that. And as we're going to see, it's actually jolly banded. I only live on like 5 health. He takes a ton on recoil, and the Metal Burst is just going to get rid of Darmanitan. And that's such a nice start. Like, I couldn't ask for a better start. Now Bulu is looking really good because he didn't bring the Sizzle, he has no priority, nothing that's quicker than it unless he brought a Scarfer, and I can scout out for that fairly easily. So he's now going to bring in his a load of Ninetales, and I'm going to click Heavy Slam just on the off chance he wants to try and get fancy and set up Aurora Veil in front of me. Heavy Slam through the Aurora Veil will still probably kill because times 4 weak, and Aggron is heavy as shit. So at least we can prevent the Aurora Veil going up on the first turn. However, I don't really have anything that I want to switch in on this anymore. Like, Mega Aggron was probably my best switch, but at the same time I really need to get rid of Darmanitan. And here he just goes into his Umbreon. I've gone for the Ice Beam just in case he decides to go into the Garchomp or the Zapdos, because either was viable switch in. It seemed unlikely I was going to go for an Ice move on his Ice type. but he just goes to safe middle ground play, goes for the Umbreon. If he had gone to Garchomp player, then that would be fantastic, but we're just going to parting shot out of there and see what this Umbreon wants to do, because I can only assume it's like a standard set, but I don't know, we'll have to see. As he just goes for the Toxic, and that's a little bit annoying, but if anything's going to get Toxic on my team, I guess this Hawlucha is probably the best thing, but considering the team he's brought, Hawlucha could actually do a lot of work late game. I need to keep this Hawlucha around for this Umbreon, and as I don't think outside of a Wood Hammer from Bulu I can really deal with it very well, because I'm expecting it to potentially be specially defensive to deal with the likes of Hydreigon, and that'd just be Hydreigon I think on my team. Maybe a special Victini as well, and in like classic Grey fashion, we miss a Toxic on the Mega Blastoise coming in, or the regular Blastoise coming in, and he's just going to Mega Evolve. I'm going to go for the U-turn. I'm getting straight out of there. I have a dedicated switch in my Silvally that can switch in about 3 or 4 times depending on his investment. So yeah, just going to U-turn on out there, do a decent amount of damage. Actually it does 30 damage, which is not that bad at all. And yeah, straight out into my Silvally. My voice goes funny. Yeah, so he goes for the Scald, and we're going to see from his damage that I'm fairly sure it's just like modest, but he gets the burn, and that really sucks, because that means that instead of being able to switch in like 4 times potentially on this, I can only switch in 3 times, and if he goes for another Scald, then that's a problem. So I just got to go for a Thunderbolt as he goes out into his Zapdos again. Sorry, I go for a Parting Shot. I thought I went for a Thunderbolt there. But I didn't expect him to stay in. I go for the Parting Shot. Go straight out into my Piloswine, as I can either Toxic this thing, I can... I should have protected. I should have scouted potentially for any kind of move that this wants to go for, but again, Piloswine being Toxic, it's not great, it's not the end of the world. But it certainly really kind of hinders my own longevity, and it just kind of sucks that this is my only way to switch into a Zapdos on my team, because Electric Flying Stab just ruins my team, especially if it's got either Fighting or Fire coverage. Like it just destroys my team, so I needed to bring Piloswine in there. But unfortunately we're going to be stuck in this position where well, we have to... What am I going on about? So we go for the Toxic on the Zapdos, and that's great because it stops that thing's longevity, but we're kind of stuck with having to stay in against Zapdos, and because of that, I'm not sure if he wants to stay in or not. I'm just going to go for the Toxic. There is no real bad drawback I felt for going for a Toxic. I did expect the Mega Blastoise to come in because he didn't want to take an Icicle Crash. He risked it the first turn, but I don't think he was going to risk it a second turn. I think maybe he thought I was going to get my Rocks up on that first time Piloswine was in, thinking it would be a safe way to get Rocks up, but I didn't actually have Rocks on this at all, so had I had Rocks, maybe that would have been quite nice, but I'm fairly sure this Blastoise had Rapid Spin anyway, so that's why I didn't have it on Piloswine to begin with, because it was just a free Rapid Spin every time Piloswine was in. So I go for the double Toxic, and I hit both. Fortunately, I hit both, and we're going to see that I don't want to stay in. I can't stay in. If he goes for Scald, then it's a bit of a problem, and here I think he may have predicted me to go out into Hydreigon or into Bulu. Like, Bulu would be far too sketchy to switch in, because if that got burnt, that's my win con gone. So he goes for the Ice Beam. That does a decent chunk to me. It does about 25%. But with this burn damage, it's just kind of racking up. I don't expect him to want to stay in, but just on the off chance that he does, I think this time I go for the Thunderbolt, because regardless, I'm now in range of Scald. It doesn't matter if I take another lot of burn or not. So I go for the Thunderbolt. It does a reasonable chunk to Umbreon. Umbreon's just fat, and I can see from this that it's pretty specially defensive. And I'm just going to Parting Shot out. I have no reason to stick around, and I can kind of see what he wants to do. I go out into my Hawlucha every time, because Foul Play isn't doing too much damage. It's doing about 20%. And I can always scare it out. Every time I scare it out. As, yeah, he just goes for the Wish. And again, I could have potentially gone for a Toxic here if I wanted to, like, scout for like a Heal Bell or something. But at the same time, if he had Heal Bell, then what's the point in going for Toxic? So I'm just going to go for Flying Press. I'm going to go for as much damage as I possibly can. As he goes out into his Mega Blastoise, this thing getting the Wish is going to be just terrifying. So I need to do as much damage as I possibly could. It's the first time I've actually seen Flying Press as an animation. That's kind of wild. But yeah, that doesn't do too much with the Wish. It's going to be back at a reasonable amount of health. The Toxic is starting to really rack up on my Hawlucha. And I'm just going to go for the U-turn again. I have no reason not to. And at this point, my Silverly has kind of just done its job. It's done what it needed to do. It's come in many times on his Mega Blastoise. And it's just going to go down. Because he's going to go for Scald, and I can't really switch in anything else on it. But what this does do is gives me a chance to bring in Bulu. And I should have noticed earlier, when Zapdos came in, it did not have pressure. That's one tiny little detail that I neglected to see, is that it didn't have pressure. Nothing is going to want to take a Wood Hammer on his team, certainly nothing wants to take 2. The only thing that maybe wants to is a defensive Zapdos. So he goes out into his Zapdos. I should have clicked Stone Edge here, 100% should have clicked Stone Edge. It was a no drawback kind of play, he wasn't going to stay in, and that Wood Hammer does a ton of damage. And again, like, I got lucky there, because this is a static Zapdos, and if I get paralyzed, my win con is gone. Basically, my win con is gone entirely. And I should have fought through this play. I should have gone, okay, well, it doesn't have pressure, it's got static, I need to go out into something to deal with this one-on-one without the worry of getting static. And 100% that would have been going out into Piloswine. However, I rush my play, I go for Wood Hammer again, and unfortunately the second time we are not so lucky. We do get the paralysis from static, and oh man, that sucks. That really sucks, because Bulu, when it's quicker than everything, can take everything on his team out. When it's slower, is just useless. Like, really is kind of just useless. He brings in his Garchomp, so this is the most obvious Poison Jab I've ever seen in my life. So I'm going out into my my Piloswine. It is my safest switch into this every single time, especially with the grassy terrain up. That's quite nice. I'm getting a little bit of health back. That Poison Jab does nothing. It literally just does 0. And at least the grassy terrain negates 1 round of poison damage. And I should have gone for Toxic here. I don't know why I keep doing this. I do this far too frequently. I click Earthquake when the grassy terrain is still up. I've had Bulu for half a season, and I'm still here clicking Earthquake in grassy terrain. And as you're going to see, this is going to do not very much damage at all, about 25%. But it's going to get the grassy terrain recovery. It's going to get leftovers recovery. It's just that there's so much recovery that I really cannot break for it. And at this point, I have no switch-ins to Ninetales at all. I guess my Silverly was my switch-in initially. Mega Aggron was obviously a switch-in to this 100% of the time, but that went down like turn 2. So I'm just going to Toxic it. I need to try and find a way to slowly break it down, put it in range, that maybe late game I can get Hawlucha to sweep, because at this point I think Hawlucha is my best chance. I haven't seen an item from the Garchomp, so that could still be Scarfed, and if that's Scarfed, it just wins the game at this point, because it will outspeed my Hawlucha, it will outspeed my, well, now paralysed Tapu Bulu, and that leaves me in a really bad position. So I'm just going to keep going for, I'm just looking for damage. I'm just looking to chip away at everything. And I go for the Earthquake here. Maybe should have gone for the Toxic, but it is what it is. I still didn't know if this Umbreon had Heal Bell or not. So I wasn't sure if I click Toxic, would I just be wasting a turn? Or do I just click Earthquake and try and do as much damage? However, Umbreon does give me 1 free switch in to Tapu Bulu and 1 free Wood Hammer to be able to try and kill something. However, Mid shows some great prep and goes for the Baton Pass. So again, Bulu is in and it's a liability. So it's not ideal at all. I didn't live a Poison Jab, that's why I didn't stay, or I kind of just had to switch every single turn. If I was able to live 1, I was initially thinking of being Kevia Berry just for the situation, but Scarf was so much better. But yeah, I'm stuck in this infinite loop of just trying to whittle things down for a sweep that's really kind of not going to happen. I know the poison jab's coming. I feel like at this point I needed to keep my Piloswine around more than I needed my Hydreigon around. Again, I'm not sure how great that was a play, but at the same time, he did still have a load of Ninetales. He had Garchomp and he had Umbreon, which could be specially defensive and completely wall this set. So I go for a Dragon Pulse. Aurora Veil does save his Garchomp. I had enough of that, enough HP investment even, to be able to live a Dragon Claw, which is wild, after a Poison Jab. And now I've got to just hope, I've just got to pray that I can do enough damage with Hawlucha. In hindsight, going for a U-turn here, sacking off my Piloswine, 100% my play. It's the best way of getting rid of this potential sweeper, and unfortunately, at this point, I have kind of nothing to be able to take down the rest of his team. I just have a Piloswine. So, yeah, Piloswine, who is Toxic Poisoned against the world, and something else. What else do I have in my team that's still alive? Oh, I still have Bulu, but Bulu's paralysed, so it's really not doing much against anything other than the Umbreon. What else did he have on his team that was still alive? I don't remember. I don't remember what else was on his team. But yeah, if we had been in a better position, if we hadn't been paralysed, the amount of damage that I'm doing to everything on his team actually put me in a position that if I wasn't paralysed, I would have won this game. 100% would have won this game, because his Garchomp is under half, his Umbreon is at around half, his Ninetales will be like under half once it's taken another lot of poison, once it's taken another hit as well, because I can live a Blizzard, 100%. I can live a Blizzard, I can live a Moonblast, and yeah, I can just throw off an Earthquake, which puts it in range of Bulu's Wood Hammer. But at this point, it's just a lost cause, because I just can't do anything with Bulu. It just gets outsped and dies to everything. So it's a really unfortunate way to go down. Spoilers, we do lose this game, if you couldn't tell. And it's going to be a 4-0, our first ever loss to mid. But he certainly, this team was a struggle for me, and he played this well enough that he did what he needed to win, and I didn't do that. I sacked off, I let my Wincon get paralysed, and that really hurt my team. We're going to go back into Bulu. We're just going to let it die to the Blizzard that's coming in. I'd hope maybe I could live one and then get the KO in return, but as you're going to see, I certainly do not live a Blizzard. It just doesn't happen. So good game to mid. He played it certainly a lot better than I did. I did not keep my Wincon healthy, which is huge. I absolutely need to keep my Wincon healthy. Oh, he still had Mega Blastoise, didn't he? That was his other one. So yeah, really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. That's twice now against mid that paralysis has cost me. In the other game it was just differential. In this one it cost me the victory. But it was entirely my fault. Unlike the other one where he got the lucky full para on his Thunderbolt, this one was entirely my fault. I didn't see the pressure, and that was just a minor detail that I missed. And yeah, that cost me the game entirely, because Bulu, in the position that all of his mons were at the end, 100% just won that game. It just clicked Wood Hammer and killed everything. But it is what it is. All we can do is look back in hindsight and say, if only I had done that. But yeah, we now slip down to 1 and 2, I believe -4. Back-to-back 4-0 losses in the IBL D-League. Does not look good, but we can only either win 4-0 or lose 4-0, it seems. But we go up against Platinum Howler. That is our week 4 battle. And again, his team is just so scary. Looking through his team, he had a couple of mons that could just beat my team. So much like this week, I think my lack of bulk is going to be an issue. And yeah, I think maybe I'm going to have to start being a little bit more offensive, just going for like a hyper offense sort of style, because my team just doesn't work trying to be defensive when it doesn't have enough bulk. And I think I'm just trying to make it too much bulkier than it needs to be. In this match, I felt like the bulk that I brought was kind of necessary. and it certainly was working towards my game plan. However, when you completely sack off effectively your win con and make it no longer a win con, it's just a case of like you can't. Once the game plan's gone out the window, I couldn't really just bring it back and create a game plan out of nowhere, if that makes sense. Like, regardless, once it got paralysed, it was going to be an uphill battle, and Mid just had to play it safe, and he did. Like, but that's all he had to do. So yeah, last time, good game to Mid. I'm no doubt that I'll be facing him in many other leagues in the future. I think we face off in the PTL at some point mid-season, so that one will be going. Well, we'll face each other once more relatively soon. After that, I don't know, because whatever leagues I join, he seems to be joining as well. So whatever leagues I'll be in for like my next seasons will be probably week 1 against Mid again. I look forward to these battles. I really enjoy battling Mid. He's one of those people that I could battle many times, and each battle has always kind of like got something different, and there's always something that we both take away from it. So I'm rambling, as I always say in every single video, like literally every video I just start rambling on. But yeah, week 4 against Platinum Howler and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, Red Gyarados. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.